What would you do if you stopped wearing other people's opinions? How far would you go? What would you be capable of? Who would you love? How would you love? What business would you start? What would you put into this world if you stopped wearing other people's opinions of you? I want you to think for just a second of how other people's opinions and their voices, their ideas, their own limits, their own fears, their own insecurities that they impress upon you. I want you to think for a moment of how those opinions have restricted you from possibly everything that you were meant to do and meant to become. Whether it's your family and how you were raised and what you were raised to believe, whether it was your friends, whether it is a significant other, whether it's your coworkers. Everyone has other people's opinions in their ear. We're all faced with that daily, especially in the culture that we're in, where you can post one picture or you can post one video or you can post an idea, and everyone has their thoughts and their opinions from their own perspective. You know, there are so many times where I will post a message, I will deliver a message, and I can have one intent behind that message, but everyone hears it through a completely different filtered lens. Sometimes I'll go back and I'll read the comments and I'm shocked and I'm surprised, and sometimes I'm enlightened because everybody's idea of what I'm saying comes from what they are currently facing and what they are currently dealing with, because everyone has their own perspective. And a lot of times when you are meant to change something, when you are meant to be someone who breaks the ground on anything, or meant to be a changer, a game changer, or whatever you may like to label it, you're going to often be put in the position where you're going to do things that other people are not going to understand because they've never seen it before. And if you're going to break ground on anything, if you're going to do anything that you were placed on this earth to do, there are going to be moments that people will not understand, and everyone may not come along, and everyone may not agree with you, and many people may not pat you on your back, but that does not mean that you are not meant to create it or do it. It just simply means that you have to take other people's garments off, other people's ideas, other people's hopes and dreams for you, other people's wishes and desires of what they think that they would do in your situation. It's not to say that what they would do wouldn't be great, but what you were planted here to do, only you can do, and only you can become. So many people limit themselves from the most amazing opportunities because of the fear of what people will think, the fear of what people will say, the fear that they're being cringe, the fear that they're being judged. But in order for you to become anything and to have anything that is actually meant for you, you're going to have to take off the opinions and the ideas and the thoughts of everyone else around you and truly tap into who you were called to be and what you were called to do. It may step outside of the lens of maybe how you were raised. It may step outside of the lens of your denomination or your religion. It may step outside of the lens of cultural norms. Man, even on a day like today where we are celebrating and recognizing the entry of Yahshua, of Jesus, into the city before he was crucified, even as we're recognizing Palm Sunday, we also must identify for just a moment that Jesus himself stood against all the standards. All of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they were not in agreement with anything that he was doing. So much so that they actually crucified him. They chose him over someone else who was more guilty. He hung between two thieves, all because they wanted to accuse him of not going along with their rituals, their traditions, their customs. But he was breaking ground, and the ground that he broke actually it changed life forever. 2,000 years. Here it is, 2025, and we are still being impacted and changed behind one person that made a decision. Maybe the decisions that you need to make are on the other side of you no longer caring, no longer submitting yourself to the ideas and the opinions of everyone else around you. And I know that it is a lot easier said than done, because those voices of other people's opinions will begin to permeate through our thought system. But we've got to be willing to challenge ourselves to overcome them every single time. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse number 7 is a scripture I really want to just talk about for a moment. We are reminded that David said to Samuel that he should not consider his height because the Lord had rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things that other people look at, but he looks at the outward appearance. The Lord looks at the heart. There's another scripture around this same exact chapter where David is putting on and trying to try on Saul's garments. He's trying to put on what Saul believed that he needed to have on in order to defeat Goliath. David tried to try those clothes on, and as he tried to try those clothes on, he realized that they did not fit him. He couldn't go in those garments, and so he had to take them off. He would have never defeated Goliath if he had worn what everyone else wanted him to wear. He would have never arisen to the position of being a king if he had wore his brother's opinions or his father's opinions or even the clothes that Saul had given him. He had to dare to take those clothes off. He had to dare to go against the advice of everyone that was around him and even those that did not believe in him. He had to be willing to look cringe. Can you imagine your little brother coming up to you saying, I can fight him, I can beat him? And you know that your brother wasn't trained for it. Most of us would try to talk him out of it. I know I would with my brothers. But that would have been our worst mistake. Not seeing the king inside of David. But the king was always there. Everything that you are meant to be and everything that you are meant to do, it's already inside of you. It's already sitting inside of you as a seed. And the experiences that you have experienced has watered that seed, has grown that seed. But it's up to you now. It's up to you to begin to harvest the fruit of all of the work that you've put in. And maybe that final step in harvesting that seed and harvesting the great harvest that is there for you and doing the things that you're supposed to do is overcoming the fear of what other people may think, what other people may feel, what other people may say. Maybe you need to go back and look at how layered your thought processes are, how you've limited yourself because of fear, how you started to lie to yourself because of fear. I cannot tell you how many times I begin to listen to the lies and I begin to find information that validated the very lies that I was told about myself, of what I should do and what I should become and how I should do it. And so I found things to validate that process, validate those words. You will find things that will validate anything if you're searching for it. My challenge to you is to search for things that will validate you becoming the best version of yourself. Understanding that maybe there are seasons in your life that everyone can't go with you. And that is perfectly okay. There are some seasons that you have to rock it alone. There are some seasons where you will have people that will help you, that will support you. And maybe you'll be blessed enough and lucky enough that God will give you someone to walk this life with you, that you may accomplish the things that you were meant to accomplish. But on the off chance that it's not, you still have an assignment. You still have things that you are meant to do and meant to become. And what you cannot allow is for anyone else's fear to hold you back from becoming those things. I'm going to ask you this question again because I think that it's very important. that you sit with this and you think about this just a little. If you were not afraid of other people's opinions, if you did not wear other people's opinions, what would you do? What would you post? What business would you start? How would you dress? What would you wear? Where would you live? What would you start? Who would you love? How would you choose to love? What would you be if the only voice you listened to was you and God? How far could you go if God was on your side? I truly believe that if God be for me, it is more than anything that could ever be against me, even my own thoughts. God plus you equals a sure thing that it will get done. And it'll even be better than what you could have ever imagined, because you trusted God. As you go through this season of your life, I want you to ask yourself a couple of questions. Am I holding myself back because of a fear of what people will say or what people will think? Am I not choosing the relationships that I want, or am I choosing relationships based on someone else's opinion? You know, yesterday I had a very funny moment where I was trying to put my clothes on to get myself together to go. And my sister was with me, and I looked at her and I said, you know, I really want to wear this tie, but I think my mom would want me to wear this tie. And my sister looked at me and she said, wear the one you want to wear. And I did. And I loved it. I probably would have liked what my mom would have wanted me to wear. My mom has great style. I love her. But it just wouldn't have been me. I wouldn't have felt as comfortable. Sometimes we pick up what other people want us to do and we try to own it like it is our own. All the while, we've silenced ourselves. We've forgotten ourselves. Some of us have been so entrenched into other people's opinions that we don't even know who we are anymore. Some of us have lived our lives to please those that were around us, so much so that we honestly don't even know what we want anymore. We don't know what we want in spouses. We don't know what we want in business. We've done what our family business is, and we've just done it because that's what we were supposed to do. We've loved who our family would have wanted us to love. We've gone to the churches that they would have wanted us to go to. We did the type of business that they would have wanted us to do. And not to say that the things that our family would want for us is always bad, because many times it can be a structure and a path for us to go. But if you are having something that's pulling you and you're afraid to allow that thing to pull you because you're afraid of what everyone else around you may believe and what everyone else around you may say, and if it's different than what your family would do and different than what your friends would do, but something is pulling you, I'm going to challenge you to silence those voices and to go after what God has for you. What would you do if you took off everyone else's opinion and you listened to that gentle voice within inside of yourself? I think life would be amazing. I think you'd be surprised. I think you would be surprised at just how amazing you really are. At just how gifted God has really created you. At just how unique that no one else could be or do what he planted you here to do. You'll start to realize that you're not in competition with anyone, because the lane that's been prepared for you has been paved. And you'll find out that help comes as you need it. And everything that you need as far as provision and ways being made is on the other side of you walking in the path that's prepared for you. I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord. plans to prosper you, for you to be in good health, even as your soul shall prosper. Maybe the only thing that's been holding you back is that you've been wearing everybody else's clothes, everybody else's thoughts. Give yourself a chance. I want to thank you all so much for becoming a part of my family. I want to thank you so much for this great community that we have created together. I love each and every one of you with all of my heart. I pray for you daily because you mean just that much to me. Thank you for continuing to be a part of my family, for growing together, for even talking together with one another. We're an amazing group of people doing amazing things. I'm praying for your week. I'm praying for this season, because I think that on the other side of this season, there's going to be so much greatness for you. Have a wonderful week. I love you guys.